Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Outskirts Overland. Welcome to week 13. Lucky week 13 is how I have it listed. Today I got Tyson with me at Connell Out Adventures. He did the Express Rally, Overland edition of the Express Rally this last weekend. So we're going to be talking about that a little bit. But before I get into all that, I got to go through my regular stuff. So hey guys, I want to let you know I got a discount code for Onyx Off Road. It is Global Overland 236. It'll get you 25% off, or it'll get you 20% off of Onyx Off Road. If you're the hunting type, there is a 30% off Onyx Hunt right now for Mother's Day because that's what everybody's mother wants is their Onyx Hunt. But anyway, 30% off right now on Onyx Hunt. And then again, Global Overland 236 get you 20% off Onyx Off Road, whichever level of package you guys decide to get. My friends over at Toyota Trucks of Arkansas, if you're a Midwest Toyota enthusiast, off road enthusiast, check out Toyota Trucks of Arkansas. It's actually a relatively positive, not relatively, it's a positive group of guys with a lot of knowledge that are really willing to help. I really like the group over there. And then lastly, if anybody from Go Fast Campers ever listens to this podcast and wants to decide to work with me, because this thing's going to get huge, and Go Fast is going to be begging me to get one. We're going to get rid of this rooftop tent, and we're going to go fast. Okay, so if anybody from Go Fast ever hears this and wants to work with me, Charlie at outskirtsoverland.com. Email me. Anyways, without further ado, I have Tyson at Connell Adventures with me here. Here's Tyson.
Charlie, pleasure to be back. Sorry, can't speak obviously tonight.
I'm always talking to Tyson whenever I'm on here. He's chatting and such. Um, but he had a unique experience this weekend. He went to the Express Rally Overland Edition, which is like just for the Overland Express Rally, and we'll get more into the multifaceted side of those things. But go ahead and
Yeah, so I actually got to experience it for the first time. The company that I work for has been a sponsor of them for quite a long time. I'm not sure exactly how many years it's been, but they're always looking to support the sponsors to come out and enjoy what they do. And yeah, man, it was way more than what I was expecting. Um, they took care of the driver meetings. They took care of feeding us breakfast and dinner every day. Had it all mapped out. You didn't have to lift a finger. I mean, I brought everything to cook with us just in case, but literally didn't use anything but my plates and silverware.
yeah. So for those people that don't know this, um, it's kinda like almost like if you were new into overlanding or you wanted to get to know the community a little better, it's kinda like your all-inclusive overland trip. Is that one way to put it?
Oh yeah, 100%. It's like going to a weekend resort with your family. It's a bunch of like-minded individuals. You get every different gap from first time out to, I mean, been wheeling since I was a kid. So it's nice to have that camaraderie around the campfire, meeting new people. It was a blast.
And also, I think just for me, not that I didn't get to go, but, maybe Landers Toyota will hook me up next year. Um, so
Yeah, for
La
sure.
Landers Toyota sponsors the event, and that's how Tyson went, as a representative of that dealership. Um, but it's also kind of nice. You don't have to do any planning. They plan for you, the camp for you, the food for you, and they had some really cool people there. So talk a little bit about the folks you met and the who was cooking and et cetera, et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera.
So our meals were provided by Jesse at Overland Chef. Tremendous guy, very active with us. Was not by any means like afraid to talk to the crowd. He was having a good time. So that was a whole experience on its own. And man, the dude can cook. Oh, man, we had all kinds of good food, breakfast tacos. We had the chili, the Texas chili with the little corn cakes. I mean, it was, man, phenomenal. Like stuff that I wouldn't even have thought of making at a campsite. And it was really cool because he's all over YouTube and Instagram. So make sure you go out there and give him a follow. He goes through step by step on recipes and what he's cooking, how he's cooking. If he goes to events, he does cooking classes there as well. He's got knives, cookware, all that stuff for sale on his website. Just a genuinely good dude. So and then Aaron Greenfield is the one who runs the overland side of the Express Rally. So he is, yeah, that's all Jesse there. Jesse actually just got that Tacoma not too long ago, and it's got the Mitz alu cab on the back. And it's fully fitted, got all the bells and whistles. It's a really cool rig to see.
For those of you that'll listen, I'm showing his Instagram right now, Jesse, the Overland Chef. And it's just Overland Chef, one word. It says Overland Chef, Cook Explore, cook some meals.
Originally from he was originally from Texas and he moved out to Colorado. I don't know if he was born and raised in Texas. I don't remember, but he's out in Colorado now. He's got a list of events that he's going to be going to. So yeah, he's definitely one to follow. And if you're a foodie like I am, like I'm a love to cook, and Charlie's been there when we cook at camp. It's just something that I enjoy doing. So that was a real treat to not have to cook and have some really good food. So, but yeah, back to Aaron Greenfield. He's the one who runs the Express Rally for the overland side of things. He's got a super cool built out fifth gen Forerunner running 38s, and that thing is just a beast. It'll go over anything. And but yeah, I mean, it was a all around just awesome experience. Ty and I were the only ones that went. We kind of just did it, just us, and we met this couple that originally was from Venezuela, and they moved here not too long ago. They've been in the States for a little while, moved to Northwest Arkansas in the Fayetteville area. And man, they were just really cool to talk to learn about. They had a really nice built rig. They share the passion to go out there and hang out. And they've got, their son that came with them. Super cool kid. He's got a birthday coming up. So um, shout out to him for his birthday coming up, and go Messi. He's a big Messi fan. So I'm excited to grow that relationship with them and hang out with them as we progress and share, different experiences, and adventures with them. So
And I've got their Instagram up. It's just Express Rally. And it's in Express Rally has multiple different, let's say, levels of what they have. So not everything's off road or on road or exotics, or it's got a lot of different stuff. So they're doing a lot of good things for the car community, the automotive community in general. So I'm pro that no matter who you are, and I'm pro free food and not having to plan too. So
yeah,
I'm
definitely.
I'm pro. I'm pretty about what they're about. Even though I didn't get to go. Um, but Tyson went to that, and then my friend Jay and Gallant were at the. I had them on. I had Jambo Bobby on, but they were at the Jamboree. And Will, Jay's pretty well social media famous with his GX at this point, so I gotta get on his calendar to get him on and talk about that because he's too famous for us now. Um, so but that's
Yeah,
all good.
there was a lot of events going on this weekend. I mean, we had
Mhm.
Jambo, we had Express Rally was running theirs. There was another group that was out with uh, another off road group. I mean, it was a busy weekend in the Ozarks, and Man, I was just totally blown away because I've been going out to the Ozarks for 4 or 5 years now, and I mean they took us on all new trails, stuff that I've never been on before. So if it's even somebody that's seasoned to that area, it was definitely worth going and doing for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, you went kind of pretty open-minded, like, you're the first one of us to actually go on the overland edition of the Express Rally. Now, we've all seen a little bit of it on YouTube, and social media, but you're actually the first one to go. So we all kind of came in, we all kind of putting our feelers out. I mean, our group of guys had a couple people at different events, and so everybody kind of can get a feel for like what's going on at those events, the events that are more geared toward driving and wheeling and camping versus just again like buying stuff.
Yeah, I can tell you this event here. I even learned stuff more than any other event that I've ever gone to. And the camaraderie around the campfire at night, talking about the first time they went up this trail and first time that I had to use my lockers on my vehicle. And
That's
I
sick.
think the furthest that somebody drove or that I'm aware of was Iowa. So he had like a 12-hour trip home or something like that. And it was cool because that was his first experience in the Ozark National Forest. And he was just completely blown away on how well developed the Ozark National Forest is. I mean, I feel like I kind of take it for granted because I live so close, but I don't realize like just how little there is out there that's pre-established like the Ozarks.
Well, and if Benji's still listening, Benji and Baker Overland just talked about this a couple of weeks ago. Like, not only is there a ton of public land in Arkansas, the way that Arkansas manages public land is like it's not like Missouri where you got to go to a designated spot to do a thing. Like the Ozarks is kind of like I like to think of it like it's an open parking lot and you can park in any spot you want.
A
Like,
hundred
you can
percent.
literally go do whatever. So, like, and they were talking about it, and I talk about it all the time too, and Benji's listening, so I'm gonna plug Newfound Overland podcast, as well as Baker Overland on YouTube. But they were talking, and they Baker and Benji, I'd say, are kinda like me and Tyson probably. Like, they they're definitely close, and they go on trips together and stuff, and they're super cool guys. But they were talking about the Ozarks, and Missouri has a little bit of it in the Ozark side of Missouri, but the Ozark part of Missouri is like Arkansas. So, like it's I mean it blends into all the same. So, but Arkansas does it way different than anywhere else. Like even Colorado, like they're designated. Like Arkansas is like if you were to call Arkansas, if you were to say where's a designated place in Arkansas, like, literally, if there's not a house there,
Right.
like, period, you can go. Like,
Exactly.
you go figure it out.
Yep.
And 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 it's just sick. Like, it's just sick.
Well, it
So,
makes you sick because you got to drive 6.5 hours to get out here. So
yeah, but I mean, at least I'm only 6 hours away.
that is true. I mean, you could be
Like,
12 or more.
and I was just watching a guy, Jailbreak Overland. I'll give him a shout out too. Super cool guy. He used to have an 80 series and now he's got 5th gen 4Runner. It's super duper duper cool. If and he just had a video where he was like, I'm gonna finally test out this new build in the Ozarks in Arkansas, Missouri. And I was listening to him talk about how hard the wheeling is, and I'm just like, man, am I jaded? Like, because that's just what we do here. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely a different experience. And that's the cool thing about the Ozarks to me is you could literally go out there in a, RAV4 all-wheel drive and do a lot of things. I mean, we had that Jeep Grand Cherokee out there with us that one time, and he
yep,
did fine. I mean, all the water crossings, we had to be sure that we were going down a trail that he could make. But at the end of the day, like he did everything that we did. Just it wasn't like we were going over anything crazy extreme, but he literally followed the trails, the same ones that we went on. So
yeah, and he just had some wild peak AT3s. Like, I think they
Yep.
were like one size bigger. He was lifted all of probably an inch. But like, I guess I just don't know. Like, what I wonder what it is, and I don't want to get well. Me and you are going to get on tangent either way. But
Yeah.
like, I don't know what it is that is like the barrier to entry. Like, do people watch these videos and just watch these creators go, "It's really gnarly," and they're like, I don't want to go to those arcs." Like, because it's not. It can be. I mean, again, you can make it as gnarly as you want, but you can also, you know, you can also go,
Be
that
chill.
one ain't for me. Like it's not, it's not nuts.
No, definitely not. And that's what I like about going to the Ozarks, because if you have somebody that's looking for extreme, I have the places to go. If somebody's looking for chill, I have the places to go, and everything in between. So it's not like you have to go out and break your rig every weekend. Like, we just
But
that's not what we're about.
if you do want to go out and break your rig every weekend, or go on a big long trip with a bunch of people and break damn near everything on your rig, listener, it's there. It's there. You can, yeah, you can definitely, you could break it every weekend if you
Oh,
want to.
absolutely. Yeah, hands down.
so,
Yeah, no, for sure. And
so, for sure.
maybe that's their thing. Maybe they have a wife at home that says you're not buying new parts until they're broken, and they're like, "All right, well, let's go to the Ozarks."
Yep. Yep.
But
And
it's
goodbye.
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely cool to see, like, people testing out the rigs for the first time all the way up to, they're seasoned. And that's the cool thing about with going to the express rallies. Even Aaron was like, hey, we're here to spot you. If you need spots, don't be afraid to ask. You know, but this trail is not very difficult. I mean, he was instructing people when to put it in four low, when to put the route lockers on. So there was a lot of, even though that it's elementary for people like us, right? It may not be that way for somebody else. So they kind of cater to everybody's, needs on the trip. And also, anytime that they do a guided trail run, some of the money goes back to the national forest. So not only are you, supporting an awesome trip, but you're also giving back to the Ozark National Forest, which is super important to me. It's that there's other people out there that make money off of it, and they don't put money back into the Ozarks. And even Aaron, there was plenty of times where throughout the day we would stop in the middle of a trail and he was grabbing trash and doing the due diligence. There's a trail in the Ozarks that we came across that when we first started going out there, it was a single lane track, and now it's seven or eight different bypasses that are impassable. But the main track is a hard bottom ground. Aaron's like, well, I'm going to reach out to the national forest to see if I can, get some guys out here so we can try to prevent this from happening. So they're really cautious about not leaving a big footprint and things like that. So it's really nice to see a group that is not only accommodating to giving you an awesome experience, but also taking care of, you know, our land essentially.
Well, yeah, and that's always important for all of us that go out there, pay attention to what you're doing, how you're doing it. And there's tons of people that go out in these areas. Like, and again, we talk about people testing their rigs in the Ozarks. There's plenty of gravel road and people just
Yeah.
tossing their beer cans and everything else, just like any other county gravel road anywhere in America. So usually you'll find the trash there. I'm not finding trash on any of the obstacles that are in videos on my Instagram. That's not
No,
where that's not where the trash is.
maybe a fender liner or two that got washed
Right.
up somewhere, but like that stuff. I mean, heck, I lost my front valance in a mud hole, and I looked for probably 30 minutes
Yeah.
for it, and I couldn't find it. So I mean, it was just it was gone. It went into a hole, and it's just never coming back. But
I mean,
I mean,
definitely egos. There's a lot of egos there. But you can't see it, but it happened.
yeah, and
That's what's there.
yeah,
That's
and
for sure.
what's cool is that even like Black Elk Media that they had there taking pictures and videos. They are just as nice as everybody else. I mean, they're super cautious about leaving a good, a big footprint and things like that. So it's really cool to see, that kind of thing going on with such a big, with such a big group. I mean, Express Rally is huge, not just on the road stuff, but on the overland side of it. But if you ever get an opportunity, I mean, seriously, I would highly recommend at least doing it once, if not 10 times. I mean, every trip is different. So
And it sounds like to me from what you were telling me, and you went, I didn't, but it sounds to me like think of how much money we all spent trying to figure stuff out, and there's an event like that 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 you can kind of get your feet wet in. But like I'm sure they kind of went over comms. You all communicated through GMRS,
yep,
and like
100%.
that's a place where like I don't mean to say it like we're in cliques or in high school, but it seems like more of an open place for someone to ask those questions. I feel like when we're out, like sometimes people are afraid to ask questions because like it's almost like they think they're gonna sound like they don't want to ask the questions that they have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
you
a lot
know?
of people are afraid of like asking for help over an obstacle. I mean, I can't tell you
Yeah.
how many times I've asked you to spot me, me spot you. Like, I mean, it happens. Like in and on trails that I've been down 100 times, it changes. I mean, one time you go down it, it's easy peasy. The next time it's, a level 10. I mean, it can change that quickly.
And there's times too where it's also appropriate to understand that your rig is more capable than you and to let somebody else drive your stuff over an obstacle.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Been there,
And
done that too. Like, and that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. But
I mean,
there is a lot of that in this space where people are a little like scared to get the information from the more experienced people.
yeah. And I mean, when you first started driving, I mean, you sat in the passenger seat and watched your dad or your mom drive, and you learned how to do it. I mean, there's no different than, doing that if you're not familiar with, overlanding or off-roading or whatever you want to call it, trailing, and it's also cool to see what your vehicle can accomplish. A lot of people put these mods on their vehicle, but they don't have anywhere to go do this on a weekend like we do. I mean,
And here's one thing that I want to talk about, and you don't have a winch, Tyson, but here's one thing I want to talk about. I'm going to answer Benji's question first. Benji asked, "How long have me and Tyson wheeled together?" I think 3 years. 3 years.
yeah, I'd say probably 3 years now. Yeah, going
Um,
on four, something like, yeah.
yeah, I think so. I think it's something like that. And we both had the same rigs the whole time too. So
Yeah.
I mean, that's pretty. And we're both 3 inch lifted. Like our rigs pretty similar, even actually.
Yeah, yeah, and I feel like, you don't need a whole lot to do a lot out there. I mean, I remember when I first got my Forerunner, I mean, I was on the factory tires and, a dealer tag, and I was out there running around with a lot of them. Forerunners are very, very capable. Tacomas are very, very capable. If you get like a TRD off road, it comes factory with rear lockers, four low. It comes factory with a lot of bells and whistles that can help you do what you need to do. The 3 inch lift and the bigger tires, that was just to have better ground clearance. Charlie will tell you I'm more of the aggressive person, anyways, when it comes to off roading. I mean,
Even at that, the first year we went to the Ozarks together, we took a dude in a damn near stock stick shift Jeep
cheap little bitty.
Liberty through some like, and he and I mean
Uh,
I'm just saying like it made like we're all like, but we didn't even tear it up at all.
but I was like, absolutely, you can do it. Let's go, baby. Like
He
amping him
was
up, like, absolutely, let's get it. And
he was
he didn't
super
get
open
stuck. I mean,
minded.
he didn't
I
get
mean,
stuck. He
yeah,
did it for Dale and
yeah,
made it over every obstacle that that's hashtag Charlie's trademark. I'm getting him
yeah.
a sticker on the back of his rig for doing it for Dale, or a 3 or something. I don't know.
But that guy was a blast, and I didn't see him this year at Rito, and man, I wish I would have. I
I know. I was kind of bummed that he wasn't there. I was really looking forward to him, but
He was a
I
good
mean,
time. He was such a good time. Oh, heck, we had a guy lose his front diff on the trail and finished in two-wheel drive.
I know. Yeah, it's so
It that
crazy.
actually, that was a little more gnarly than the Jeep Liberty. The Jeep Liberty actually wasn't as having I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
a
for
couple
sure.
times that the XJ in two-wheel was, having to get the beans a little bit more than I
I
like
mean,
to see.
poor old Jesse with the chef Jesse. He ended up burying his Tacoma the last day we were out there in a mud hole.
Yeah,
It was bad. It was like to the doors. I mean, it was real bad. So it was really cool though because Aaron let the group continue on. We didn't have to wait for the recovery. You know, it's just kind of like he's like, hey, I'm gonna break off from the group. Y'all go this way. He went and handled that, so it wasn't holding up the whole group. You know, from getting to our next location and things like that. So that was really cool that they made a conscientious effort to make sure that we were all taken care of and no man left behind kind of thing.
right.
So it was cool. It was cool to see. They did a heck of a job. We all day one you show up, you get all of the vehicle sponsor stickers. So I got Backwoods, got a big Express Rally, Overland the Ozarks 2024 sticker, two of them for both sides of the truck. Got Lander stickers. We got these cool shirts. So got a poster, just all kinds of stickers too to put everywhere. I mean, it was all. I mean, that big old windshield sticker on the top of my Forerunner. Sure, you guys have seen it if you know me. That's another one that they usually give out. They didn't have any this year just because they were just out. But I mean, all of that is included with your ticket.
Yeah, for sure, and that's awesome. And one thing I was on a train of thought about winches, so I wanna come back to
Oh
winches.
yeah, winches. Yeah.
So, Tyson doesn't have a winch. I've talked about it numerous times here. I don't live close to Tyson, so I do go wheeling with some Jeep guys, and they all have winches. So one thing that I did not know about synthetic rope winches is it's really important to spool them appropriately under tension, because if you don't, when you pull on something, the synthetic rope will go down to the spool and it'll break the synthetic rope. Um, so like there's even points and times where like you could just not know something, and it's nice to be in an environment where like people are open to teaching you stuff. And my Jeep friends taught me like I know so much about recovery now, and like all kinds of different stuff about recovery, because they actually, you got two types of Jeep people that I've been with. You've got Jeep people that, I mean, they just want to see if it'll do it. And then you have Jeep people that are like, they got too big of tires for their axles, quite frankly. And at the moment that it starts to hop, they're like, pull line,
Yeah. Yeah.
because they don't want to be breaking axles, you know?
Hmm.
Um, so I learned a lot about all kinds of different recovery stuff, and that's from going and using it. And I
I
would
mean,
be happy.
there's definitely a lot of people out there that have recovery gear that have never had to use it. Not that it's a bad thing, but I mean,
Yeah.
if you're not seasoned in something and it's been 2 years since you broke out everything for the winch, and that was your first time using it. I mean, there ain't no telling. I mean,
Well,
you could have
yeah.
mechanical failure. You could have. I mean, so it's like everything else. It's repetitiveness. As you use it more, you're going to have it down pat. I mean, I can't tell you how many times we've been on a trail and somebody doesn't know how to use a high lift jack, or it's so rusted you can't use it because it's just mounted on the outside of the rig and they've never used it. So
Potentially.
they're super cool to have if you know how to use them and if they're maintained. So that's definitely a group that, if you needed a recovery, they were ready. I mean, there was a couple sections that, were a little more aggressive, and Aaron was very adamant on making sure that once one vehicle passed the obstacle, you stayed close by so that the next vehicle made the obstacle. So if there was a point where we had to do a recovery, it was real quick. We didn't have to back the group up or do anything wild. So it was pretty cool.
And so let me put it up here. Jason just asked, "Is the Express Rally only in Mo?" It's actually in Arkansas. It's not even in Missouri.
And they
And
do it nationwide. It's not
correct.
just in Arkansas. This portion just happened to be in the Ozarks. They just got done with if you pull up their website, it's
I'm
got
doing it
some
right
of the
now.
places they got. But yeah, I mean it's all over, and even the road rally stuff is not just here in Northwest Arkansas. I mean it's literally all over. If you do the 2024 events, I think they have some more planned for the
Yep.
remaining of
So
the
I'm
season.
just on expressrally.com, but they've got the Rigs and Coffee. They've got the Southwest Express. That one's here and that one's in New Mexico
Albuquerque.
to Arizona. The Express Rally Blacktop Sunday. It's all over. So this is not just Arkansas
No,
at all.
definitely not. And they're
Uh,
the ones that are responsible for putting on the rigs and coffee every Saturday. Most of those are in major cities all over the place. So that's pretty cool. Scott Huddleston's the one who runs Express Rally. Super cool guy. Just bought a brand new 5th gen Forerunner, so I'm really hoping to see that rig pretty soon. They usually all have the cool bells and whistles. Yep, there's your Overland of the Ozarks. That's the one that we just went on. Um, and the cool thing is yeah, these probably aren't the least expensive events that you could go to by any means, but it covers your group. So if you go with you and a spouse, if you go with you and a friend, you guys could split the cost. It covers the team. So if it's 4 of you going, everybody could split it. It's not like each person has to pay that to go in. So I thought that was pretty cool too.
yeah, for sure. And no, it's awesome. It's everywhere. Jason just said I live in Colorado. Hopefully, Jason, you saw I highlighted one that's in Colorado. It's already coming past, unfortunately.
Yeah,
So
that's the
that
one that they
that
just got done
sucks.
with. It's Colorado. But yeah, I mean, every year they come out with new events. I encourage you to go follow them on Instagram, Facebook, all that good jazz, because they announce it. Um I think that they do pre-registration deposits, and then the amount just has to be paid before the trip. So it's kind of like a layaway. I mean, you could find one that next year that you want to go to that's 7 months out. And for this event, Jason, it was $799 a rig, but that also included all your stuff. I mean, everything, even down to the food. The only thing that we had to pay for was lunch on Sunday. We stopped at OARC Cafe when we wrapped it up, which that's a staple to stop in the Ozark, anyways. And then we had to pack our own lunches, but I mean, sandwiches or whatever on the trail. I mean, it's cheap, so it's not like you had to cough up, you know, food for 4 days and you know, uh, fuel. I mean, that was the only other expense.
Not $8, $800.
Yes, $799. Yep.
Yeah, no, not
I mean, if
eight
it was
dollars.
$8 a ticket, boy, they would be sold out.
I'd be there. Let's go. Absolutely. Yeah,
But
hundred
yeah, I
percent.
mean, it was definitely going into it. I saw the prices of the tickets. I was like, man, I don't know if it's worth $799. You kind of get that uneasy feeling. But after Charlie and I talked, I mean, we did. Um, let's see, we did Big Iron, we did Ozarks, the Rendezvous in the Ozarks. We were talking about doing more. I mean, if you did those 3 events alone, you would be at well over half of whatever this event cost, and
Right.
just in those 3 events. And I learned more trails, met more people that I could hang out with, and spent way better time in the Ozarks than I've ever had at any other event. I can just tell you that.
Yeah, and that's exactly right. Like when we look at it, like it is expensive and it is definitely expensive, but if you were new into this hobby and were looking to invest into it, I almost see something like this event as like if you were new, this event, I think this event would be phenomenal for you. Like, not new, but like you just built your rig and you're interested to get involved. This would
Hmm.
be a way to go. Cause like, just like Tyson said, like we've gone to what, 4, 5, 6 events together.
Hmm. Hmm.
It's cost us quite a bit more than that one event that would have taught you a lot, really.
I feel like all the events are good to go to just one time to get the experience of the event. I like the rendezvous in the Ozarks, but it's almost becoming repetitive. I mean, it's not really just about the event at something like that. The rendezvous is about meeting other people. Um, it's a good place that they have. I mean, what they have like 900 vehicles there last year or something like that.
Yeah, it was
It's
quite a
some
few.
crazy number, but so I mean, you're bound to meet some people there. I mean, we kind of did our own thing at the rendezvous last year, where we just kind of put out a group chat that said, "Hey, anybody wants to wheel with us, come join us." And we ended up with, I think, like 12 rigs that time, or something crazy. So it was pretty fun. We had a good time doing that, and you know, I recommend all the events. Get a feel for what you like, but I definitely will be um, going on Express Rally again, at whether it's free or paid. I will be going. Aaron's group of guys that put it on are just phenomenal. So
Right. And again, that doesn't mean that's the only event of that type, but it is one that now we have an experience, a person that's done it
I
to
couldn't
say,
imagine like doing a Colorado trip. I mean, I would hands down like that would be huge because you went to Colorado by yourself. You know,
"Mhm,
it can be very overwhelming trying to plan campsites, food, stops, gas. I mean, imagine having all of that taken
don't
care of for
die."
you.
Yeah.
Don't die. Yeah. Imagine having all of that, not having to worry about that. I mean, I think that it would make Colorado way more pleasurable for you guys.
I don't know if there's anything making Colorado more pleasurable for me, to be honest with you guys. I went to
I don't,
Colorado pretty sure I wasn't afraid of heights and left Colorado pretty sure
you're afraid of
I
heights.
I don't know if I've recovered from the anxiety 9 months later. It
I'm
was
I'm giving you one more year and we're going out next year, bro. Like I'm giving you one more year to recover from your from your heights problem and we're gonna go.
guy, yeah, we can go for sure, and I'll lay in the back.
Yeah,
I'm not
exactly. Yeah, you're like, I'm not
it's
driving. No, I'm out.
dude, and I went with my girlfriend Ladina, and like, I mean, she got out the truck. She was like, "I'm not even riding." Like, she got out and walked. And I mean, and you're walking like on one edge too, because you're even afraid you're gonna fall off walking. Like it is, it's just set appropriate expectations. So we're going to Colorado, and everybody's like, "You got to go to Colorado." I never been. Don't plan nothing. I'm like, "We're going to Tully Ride, which is southwest Colorado." We drove so much. I did. I couldn't even enjoy. Okay, so like Johnny just said, Colorado in the winter is so beautiful. I was so scared shitless the whole time that the only thing that was beautiful was when I like laid on my living room floor when we were done. Like I was so bad, like because it doesn't stop. Like okay. So people think the Ozarks is crazy. You go on these mountain passes, it's full commitment. Period. Like
Yeah.
there is no like you start going and then there's no not going now. So you're gonna learn a little bit about yourself if you go to Colorado and do some of the passes.
I mean,
You're gonna be like,
do you honestly think that
there's
some of that is just from you being out there on your own though? You had no backup. Like so if something
there's
happened, I mean, that's
oh
it.
bro, you I went alone,
I
but there's
know.
no shortage of other dudes out there. Like
Okay.
there's other like okay, so like there was more people in Crested Butte with built out rigs than Rito, just doing life.
Wow. Gotcha.
Like it's just so it is. There's people out there for sure, but there's like, dude, not only, yeah. Ladina was like, "It wouldn't have mattered who was there." Yeah, on some of them, I mean, dude, just death. It's just, I mean, you're just like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
But and how many times Ladina's commenting now? Ladina, how many times were we just like, "I pray," like we're going down, and the person coming up has right away, and we're just like, "I hope nobody's there," because we didn't want to back up. Like I was like, "Oh,"
Yeah.
I was like, "I don't want to do this anymore." Like it was, but you you can't not, like, if you start, so if you go and you're like, "I'm doing this," you're in it.
Yeah.
That's it. Like,
Yeah.
that's all there is to it. You're I mean, there's no turning around. Hell,
Yeah.
there's hardly room to pass each other,
Right. Right.
you know, unless you take the death route off the side, like,
I mean, if you're that
Jesus.
worried, maybe it was the way to go, buddy.
Even if you're not headed that way, sometimes you're like, "I think I'm going that way."
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I
I
mean, I definitely can feel appreciate the feeling because there are some trails in the Ozarks where you're going up a mountain and it's like sideways and you get that little bounce and you're like, "Ooh, that was like real tippy towards
bro,
like."
when you're up above where the trees are alive, I mean, in the Ozarks, you're just gonna roll into a tree.
True.
The trees don't live up high, bro. It's no good. No good.
Yeah,
It's not for me.
I hear
I
you.
I did it. Cool. It's cool. I mean, I we did it. Okay, I did it. I'm here to live. My truck's here too. Ladina's still here. Man, I'm getting anxious even talking about it. It was so scary.
It's
Like I was
palms
just so scared.
palms are
I was so
sweating right
scared,
now, boy.
dude. I can't express to people, like, if you're watching like Ophir Pass on TV, like, I'm telling you guys, it looks like it's like this. That shit's like this.
Yeah,
Like, and it's about this wide. Like, guys, I mean, you really, this is a point where having a drone maybe would have saved me a little.
just to be able to
I
see
could have
like
been
what was up in front
like,
of
go
you.
ahead. Like,
Yeah.
how bad is this? Because all you can see is all you can see in front of you until,
Until you're up there and you're like, "Oh crap, this is way gnarlier than what it was."
yeah. Well, and now Ladina's like, I think we can do the Smoky Mountains better. And this year I'm like, we're doing the Ozarks. I'm like,
Yeah, yeah,
I'll go to
right.
the Ozarks and I'll flip my shit. I don't care. Like, I'm not gonna die. Like, I mean, it'd
Yeah,
be more
yeah.
dangerous to be out of the truck than in the truck. Like,
I mean, in the Ozarks, I think the only thing that I'm really concerned with is water. I mean, the water crossings, they have a mind of their own, and the more people pass, like the deeper the routes get or the ruts get, and so I think that's the biggest challenge is making sure. But I mean, if you're ever worried about it, I mean, there's bypasses. I mean, when we went out to Woolham Ford, remember we were like, "Yeah, we're gonna cross the Buffalo right here, and everything's Gucci." And we pulled up, and it was nighttime. When we woke up in the morning, that the Buffalo was flowing, boy. I mean, there was no crossing it.
and we went a couple months later and I crossed it and it was carrying my truck.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah. I
I
mean,
almost had to hit it with some speed because if I
and
would have gone too slow, it was picking me up. And that's one thing that you're going to uniquely get in Arkansas and not elsewhere.
yeah, I
And
mean
and
the
Johnny
water
said
crossings. I mean,
snorkel,
yeah,
but
a snorkel definitely saves you, but at the end of the day, water can still only go so high. And I don't care, what anybody
in
wants to
my
say. You have a computer, you have open pores in a motor. If it gets any kind of water in there, I mean, it can be catastrophic.
and and in my experience, actually, I have a snorkel, but in my experience, it, if the water's high enough and the current's hard enough, that's far more dangerous than just deep still water.
Yeah, 100%. And it's,
That it will
I
carry you away.
I haven't had like the urge to buy a snorkel by any means yet. I mean, and we do water crossings and everything else. So, it's definitely not something like you have to feel like you're required to have it to be able to do it. So,
Right. So I've felt sketchier in water crossings when I can just kind of feel it moving the back end of my truck. Like,
I'm
and
surprised it even does that with all the weight you have back there now. Dang,
that's what I'm
man.
saying, man.
It's
The
still
current,
picking it
it's
up.
just it's the current. It's enough. If there's enough current, it will. I mean, it will move your truck, and that's really what you got to be. In my opinion, that's the scarier part of the Ozarks
Well,
is
this
just
weekend we were super stressed about the weather. I mean,
sure.
the rain, the thunder, the lightning, all that stuff you have to take into account for when you're staying out in the middle of the woods. And Aaron was dialed in on the weather. We all had, our Midland radios have the weather channel there, so we were, you know, definitely keeping an eye on that. But I mean, luckily we didn't hit any kind of, um, you know, crazy weather. I mean, it didn't start really coming down until we were almost done with the trail, which was really nice because the last trail that we went on was a pretty big climb with like shale rock, that real slick crap that just becomes like a water slide when it rains. So that was really probably one of the best things about the trip too, is that we really dodged the weather, which kind of it happens. You can't plan for weather to be right when you want to go out. So sometimes you go out and it's going to be rainy, sloppy, nasty mess. Sometimes you go out and it's going to be freezing cold, and you have to pay attention to that, and plan for it.
There's just times where, and I talked about this earlier, and we've talked about it. Like that's just where you got to adopt the thought process of trail conditions are going to change on a weekly basis, pretty
Yep.
much.
Yep, definitely. And
I mean, that's all you can guarantee is that the weather is going to change the condition of the terrain.
I got some sweet rig ideas too, being out there, just seeing what people are using. The drawer system that one of the guys that was there that had built himself, really gave me a great idea for my own personal drawer system. Looking at Aaron's Forerunner, man, he's put some wrench time in that sucker for sure. But he even did a secondary fuel tank. He's got a secondary 25-gallon fuel tank under there, so that's activated with a switch. So I
Yeah, it's
mean,
a it's a it's got
that's
transfer pump.
yeah, which is super cool. I mean, it's not something that you see every day, right? So it's cool to see the stories behind people's rigs, and what their thought process was and why they did something. And it's just like listening to this podcast. I mean, if you take anything away from it, just learning what gear to buy, what gear not to buy, talking to Aaron, I was like, how did you fit 38s under there? And he was like, man, it was a lot. And he goes, honestly, it'd be cheaper for you just to get portals and do portals to do what I did. Because he went through the whole re-gearing process, and I mean, just everything that has to go into putting 38s on. And portals are 20 grand, but it's also a lift, gears, new braking system, the whole 9 yards for the Forerunner at least. So that's a huge deal that I learned that too.
Yeah, and it's also like I like our group of guys because we have some guys that are definitely more like lighter weight wheeling, and then there's some of us that are just like, I mean, and just in the term of overland, like we're more transient. We go from place to place to place. Our rigs are a little heavier and in ways because we all have rooftop tents and carry a lot more gear. We're not going wheeling trying to rock crawl and make our rigs lighter for that. Like in Australia they'll call it touring. In America they call it overlanding, but we're truly just off-road travel from place to place to place. We're definitely not rock crawling or
No, definitely not. But we're not going
right
to shy away from a tougher trail to get to an epic camp spot, like by any means.
for
Like our
sure.
group is down, like we're going to go do this trail to get to this campsite. But it's also better when you have more group, people out there, because you have more spotters, you got more vehicles to assist with things. If you get in this weird situation, I mean, Chris Chris got in a weird situation, a couple like a month ago when we were wheeling with him. We were able to handle it right away, no issues, and everything worked out great. So I think just having a group of guys to go with is definitely, um, in my experience, and I like to go with people. So I like having the backup. So
I'm gonna pull Chris up real quick.
yeah, you got that. Yeah, that pick.
Yeah, I'm gonna find the picture of him.
And the other thing too is like we were looking at doing our trip. You and I were for the Ozark overlanded the rendezvous. We're going to do our own 4-day adventure out in the Ozarks.
There's
Yeah, there
Chris's.
it is.
There's Chris's forerunner way up in the air.
And
And
three
yeah,
two other vehicles had already passed that location, so and no issues. But it's definitely something where you know it in that situation, if you were by yourself, that would have been
but
gnarly to get out of.
also again, Chris has a rear swing out. Chris has a rooftop tent. Like we're heavier. I think it does matter
I'm
for
sure it
sure.
does to a certain degree, for sure. I mean, if you don't think that weight matters, I mean, it totally matters.
For sure.
But like Chris is just like the rest of us. We're slowly but surely building our rigs. We're figuring out what we need. After that trip, Chris was like, "Man, I'm gonna probably get a front bumper and a winch, in case I ever need to use it." That's
Sure.
that's that's how you learn what gear you really wish that you had at whatever time. What was that? Do you remember Rendezvous, or was it Big Iron? That company that was selling the handheld winches. Do you remember those?
You mean like a come along?
No, this thing was a handheld winch. You hooked it to your vehicle and hooked it to like a tree strap, and it didn't have to mount on a vehicle. It was handheld.
Never seen. Never. I've never. I don't remember that at all.
They were I thought that was the coolest thing because you didn't even have to have a bumper for it. I can't remember. And
If it was at Rendezvous, I was too busy drooling over Sprinter vans.
yeah, you were. Yeah,
Fact,
I'm
I was
surprised you
not.
didn't go home with one, bro. They were out there selling them, and
it's
I was egging you on.
it's amazing I don't have a Sprinter van yet, guys. I just that's
Yeah, so it's
I look at
actually
them every time.
Warren has it. It's a Warren 88 5000. It's a pulls all half ton corded AC portable electric winch.
Oh,
Uh, and they
here's
actually
that.
have different sizes too.
Let me find it at Warren here. I'll get it pulled up here for
Yeah,
everybody that's
but
watching.
I
This is
think
what we're talking about. That one's
Stag
just
cookies.
that one's not that one's 1,000 pound. They probably have heavy. I'm gonna look.
Yeah, they probably have heavier duty ones, but I thought it was really cool that you could have something like that, and I mean, it's about the same cost as a winch, but a lot of people don't understand is when you do a winch, like our buddy Cody, he has a 2018 Jeep Wrangler, and that actually has a spot for a winch in the factory bumper. But a lot of people don't understand that you would have to have some kind of aftermarket bumper to be able to put a winch plate on there in order for it to be a solid winch point. And I think
Mm,
that Warren's, you know, thought process behind this is to be able to have something where you didn't have to have that replacement bumper to be able to do that.
yeah, and I'm gonna go to my own page here and see if I can't find my bumper. Um, so here's my personal Instagram is what's up right now, but I have my bumper when I put it on. So there's the bumper with the winch in it. But here we go. This has so there's my bumper. I had it on the ground in a picture somewhere. There's me cutting my truck up. Anyways, dang it, I thought I had a picture of that somewhere, but I guess I don't here.
But that's I mean that's something that most people don't understand is like Charlie and I talk about this all the time. You make one solution to create another problem somewhere else.
Correct.
And that's not the case all the time unless you just have, 30 grand sitting in the bank account and just go in there and slap it on the table and be like, "Hey, I want everything." You know what I mean? Like that's the only way that you're going to get away from, I think creating solutions and then creating another problem somewhere else is, you'd have to have an unlimited bank account to be able to cover whatever. But I mean, it's just all a
Sure.
learning experience. It's a learning curve.
Yeah.
By no means do you have to have a lift and snorkel and big old off road vehicle to be able to go out here and camp. I mean, Cody
Oh,
was out here in a two-wheel drive Montero Sport with a yurt whenever we first started camping. You know what I mean? Like
and
now
it'll
he's
work
got a
just fine.
1,000%, and now he's got a Jeep. He recently purchased a rooftop tent. I think it's so funny to watch. We all started ground tents, and then we started, getting to rooftop tents, and it's just funny to watch how it grows into a
Well,
big
it's
hobby.
the wheels start turning too. And it's almost like, as we talk about, like, nobody wants to be the last one struggling to get their crap together.
No, definitely not. For sure
Like,
not.
and now at this point, like, we all either have faster stuff or we've just had our stuff long enough that we're like, we got it figured out. Like, we could be ready to go in, I don't know, half hour, 45 minutes, like
Yeah,
completely,
yeah,
like
100%.
completely, which is us messing with everything we've left out overnight too, like
Yeah, yeah.
tons of stuff out.
Yeah, I don't think that really any of us really like pre-pack the night before. We usually kind of get up, we'll put our chairs up and stuff like that, just so they don't get wet or mildew, like the dew
Yeah,
from the morning. And I mean, for the most part, we're still putting up tables and cooks, all that crap. So
yeah, still dirty pots and pans and all that stuff.
yeah, exactly. And then if you cook breakfast, you got to put all that up after you pack. I mean, it definitely happens. So I feel like, yeah, our group definitely has it pretty dialed in. So
Yeah, for sure. Well, we're about at an hour. We've covered what I think I want to cover. I always enjoy having Tyson, but we also have lives outside this podcast.
yeah,
So,
we could
so
probably sit here for 5 hours and talk. I mean, let's be
we
honest.
talked
If
for
you
two
guys,
hours last night,
if you guys want to, come and camp with us, come sit around the campfire. We'll chat your ears off. I promise.
for sure. And if you have a Jeep Liberty, we'll bring you too.
Absolutely.
We'll get through it. So, anyways, guys, I appreciate y'all coming by. I appreciate everyone listening. And make sure you go follow Tyson, Connell.adventures. Make sure you go follow my friend Chris.offroad,
Express
um,
rally, all that good
Express
jazz.
Rally, what was it? Overland Chef. Check these
Hmm.
people out. They're cool people. They're doing good things for the communities around here. Again, Toyota Trucks of Arkansas, great community of people too. That's on Facebook if you're the Facebook type. And we'll leave it at that. And I'll see you guys next week. I've really enjoyed it, and I'll catch you later.
Thanks, Charlie, for having me on. Take